Here's the thing, you guys. I'm back with another tier list ranking every single UFC event so far in 2026 along this tier list. It's pretty simple. Ranking it out of 10. Top tier is the best. Bottom tier is the worst. Like I said, very simple. I'm looking forward to this one. Let's get right into it. Starting with the first event of the year, we had Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje. And this overall, don't do that shit. This overall, I thought was a great card. Obviously, the main event, Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, one of the best fights of the year. Headlined. Originally, we were kind of looking at it as like a weak card. It didn't really have a real belt or anything because Ilya wasn't fighting at the time. It was the interim belt, co-mained by I think it was Song Yudong versus Sean O'Malley. There were a bunch of other good fights in the card. Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Derek Lewis. Jean Silva fighting Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen was back. Alex Perez had a KO, and even Josh Hockett on the prelims. Josh Hockett had one of his first, maybe it was his first actual UFC win, maybe, or was it second? I can't quite remember. It might have been his first, but he had a TKO win. That was when he flipped off Denzel Freeman and TKO'd him with the middle finger. I thought it was a great card. I'd honestly rate it like a 7.5 out of 10. So I mean, this is right where I'd go, right in that category. I really enjoyed it overall. Like I said, Justin Gaethje as an underdog is always entertaining, and I picked him in that fight as well. So it always makes the card a little better if you do well in your picks. I mean, like if you have your picks and the card's entertaining, but you get every single fight wrong, it just kind of doesn't hit the same as doing well in a card. But moving on to the next card, it would have been Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez 2. And that was immediately after they had back-to-back numbered events. And was this better? I would say this is better overall than Gaethje versus Pimblett because I think I'm looking at it now, trying to refresh my memory, a little while ago. I just think overall is better. The main event was kind of dull. They're kind of tied, but I'll put it above it. The main event was a little dull. It's just kind of an unnecessary repeat of the first fight. But when you go down the card, I think it was a little bit better. Like, you had Benoit Saint-Denis versus Dan Hook. You had Mauricio Rufy sliming out Rafael Fiziev. Quillen Salkid KO. Submission, against Jamie Malarkey. A bunch of other good wins as well. I don't know. Maybe I put it behind. I'm going to put it here just purely because the main event, Gaethje versus Pimblett, was so much better. But a fun card all the same. But next up, we have Mario Bautista versus Vinicius Oliveira. This was in the Apex, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it must have been, right? Very weak card, for being honest here. Main event, kind of shit. Really easy prediction. You knew what exactly was going to happen. Mario Bautista's level is better than Vinicius Oliveira. Kind of dull throughout the card, though. I will say, Kyoji Horiguchi coming back to the UFC was of course, very exciting for that. And now he's actually just happens to be fighting this week against Manel Kape. I'm really looking forward to that fight. I think it's a tricky fight for Kyoji Horiguchi because it's kind of the extent where it's like you kind of can't get hit by Manel Kape. He's gonna put your lights out if you do. But overall, a very good card there. Moving on to the next one, though, one of my favorite cards of the year, Strickland versus Hernandez, and this one was really good. Main event lived up expectations. Sean Strickland, as a big underdog, gets the win versus Hernandez. Still absolutely fucking nuts to me, the fact that he was an underdog in that fight whatsoever. It was obvious he was going to win, to me at least. I'm a little biased, but it was obvious he was going to win. Co-main event was super sick. Uros Medic sliming out Jeff Neal. Before that, the featured fight, Melquiz Acosta with that jumping back kick against Dan Ige, as well as a bunch of other highlights throughout the card. Jacoby Smith was on that card. Anyone else interesting? Not really. But very fun card overall. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, Sean Strickland in the main event, having one of his best performances in a long time on that card. Really, really, really enjoyed that one. Next up, though, where is it? Moreno versus Kavanaugh. I'm going to put this at high 6. It was a 6 out of 10. It wasn't great. It wasn't phenomenal. They had some good moments. Leonard Kavanaugh getting back, getting really good wins against Brand Moreno after just previously, not too long before that, getting slimed out, colded by Charles Johnson You had a King Green masterclass. You had another Marlon Vera not throwing any punches sort of fight. It was an okay card. Like I say, 6 out of 10. Excuse me. But overall, not super fantastic. Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway at UFC 326. And, this one was supposed to be so good. It kind of did not live up to expectations. Don't get me wrong. There were great fights throughout. But it was a little bit more dull than it should have been. Main event, a lot of people weren't happy with. I think the first couple rounds and the last round were exciting. But, like, the third and fourth round were a little bit dull. It was just kind of domination by Charles Oliveira. Co-main event, not as great as a lot of people are expecting between Kyle Barahalo, Reiner de Ritter. Raul Rosas Jr. is boring as hell. Drew Dober getting a classic Drew Dober slime out. But overall, not as great as it should have been. Another Apex card. How was this one? Let me look at this. I enjoyed this one. I did. I'm going to put it right here. I enjoyed Kevin Vallejos versus Josh Emmett. Because it's always good when you get, like, one of those up-and-coming stars getting his first, like, real proper opponent and just destroying him. I mean, destroyed him worse than Lerone Murphy, destroyed him worse than Ilia Topuria, etc. Just destroyed Josh Emmett. Marwan Wahiki getting a good finish. Anyone else good on there? Other than that, it wasn't. Manuel Sosa versus Balaj Yoki was a very fun fight. I enjoyed that one a lot. But overall, like a solid 5 out of 10. Kind of the same thing there as Bautista and Oliveira. Next up was damn, I got a fucking timer going off. Evloev versus Murphy. I didn't really like this one too much, to be honest with you. I didn't. I might even put this down here like a 3 out of 10. Iwo Baranowski was good on there. Danny Silva upsetting Curtis Campbell was great. But, I just mentioned this in my last video that is actually going to come out today when I'm recording this. Michael Venom Page versus Sam Patterson was just disgusting. It pissed me off so much. I hated that fight. And my boy Michael Aswell, who fights this week, losing to Luke Riley, wasn't happy about that. And, of course, the main event was not super entertaining. This was a 3 out of 10 card. Another one of those London cards just not being good. I will say, though, Iwo Baranowski getting a classic Iwo Baranowski slime out in the first 28 seconds. You love to see that. He's kind of the light heavyweight Terrence McKinney in a way. All right, thinking, that's some good shit right there. But overall, not a great card. What do we have up next? Adesanya versus Piper. Let me think about this. Ooh, I actually really like this one. This one was good. I'm gonna put it right below Gaethje versus Pimblett. I mean, there are tons of highlights in this card. It's almost all finished yet. Joe Pyfer finished against Adesanya. Alexa Grasso finished. I forgot about that for a second. Alexa Grasso versus Macy Barber. Killing Macy Barber damn near. Larry and Douglas slime out. I love Larry and Douglas. Yusri Belguri upset against Mansour Al-Dumalik. Terrence McKinney slime out. Lance Gibson Jr. sliming out Chase Hooper. Casey O'Neal slime out. Navajo Sterling slime out. The Yanez versus Simon fight. That was great. They robbed Adrian Yanez. That pissed me off. But I actually think he's fighting really soon. A couple weeks or something. This was a... Where is it? This was a... Where did I put it? Oh, here. Yeah, this is a sick... I'm going to put it actually above Gaethje versus Pimblett. Because overall, it was a better card. That's a solid 8 out of 10. Like, a really, really fun card. Followed the week after by Chris Duncan versus Renato Moicano. Also another solid card. Not quite to the level. I put this at a solid 6 out of 10. You had good fights on. You had Moicano versus Chris Duncan's fun. Ethan Ewing with a really impressive performance. I cannot wait till he fights again. He fights Farid Basharat or something. Right? I think I'm right there. Really, really good fight there. But overall, the card was kind of lacking. You know what? A card that was not lacking, which was Miami. It's going to be the first 9 out of 10 card that we've had this year. Overall, this card was absolutely fantastic. Starting with the main event, devastating shit, truly. But all the same, if you come at that fight from an unbiased perspective, like I'm biased to Yuri's Proski, I really wanted him to win, and he didn't. And he was supposed to win, and he didn't. And but Carl Sahlberg pulling off crazy KO. Co-main event, Paulo Costa KOing Azamat Murzakanov, who was undefeated. I picked that fight perfectly. I love when I do that. Josh Hokett getting his first like legit win against Curtis Blades in one of the fights of the year. Cub Swanson. Cub Swanson masterclass on his retirement fight. The one thing I will say about this card though, it's kind of close to that Sam Patterson versus Michael Venom Page fight. The Johnny Walker versus Dominic Reyes. We were supposed to get like just a goofy ass slam out, and they didn't do anything. Like they knew that they tore that away from us. It was devastating. We even got a Mateusz Gamrot finish, and when you get a Mateusz Gamrot finish, you know the card is good. You know what I mean? You know that card is good. So that's a 9 out of 10 card there. The week after, we had a dull fight card in Burns versus Malott. I'm going to put that like right here. Not great, to be honest with you. Not great. Every time I feel like we go to Canada, they just give you the most dog shit slop. The UFC has a disdain for Canada. I think it's partially because there's no like really good Canadian fighters like Jazz Vicious. And I guess Charles Jourdain's pretty solid. He's on the come up. But even he didn't have a fantastic performance in that fight. But it was all right. It was like a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10. After that, we had Aljamain Sterling versus Eustace the Law. I really enjoyed this card. We had quite a few like really big upsets. We had Cody Durden upsetting Jafel Filho. Aljamain Sterling supposedly upsetting Eustace the Law, though I don't ever think he should have been an underdog going in that fight. There was another upset too. What was it? Oh, Eric McConico versus Rodolfo Vieira. Oh, Ryan Spann versus Marcus Buchecha. Hownie Barcel. Dude, Davey Grant, Hownie Barcel. Like this card is like almost all underdog. This is crazy. Alpha Garcia might even have been an underdog. Now that I'm thinking about it. Or maybe a small favorite. Jocelyn Edwards. No. Yeah, she was an underdog too. That's great. Yo, I swear, if you would have bet on every underdog on that card, you would have gotten, like, rich. Crazy shit. Next up, one of my favorite fights of the year, performance of the year. JDM versus Carlos Prates. This was a sick card. I remember waking up wicked early in the morning for this one because it was in Australia. Aussie. Carlos Prates, masterclast. I might even put this above Strickland versus Hernandez. Carlos Prates, masterclass. Quillen Salkild, masterclass. Steve Erceg, masterclass. Brando Perichis, masterclass. And so on. Colby's Thickness got a win. I was very happy there. I really enjoy this card. It's really good to see Carlos Prates get that win. He's right there for a title shot now. And this card had a lot of meaning on it in a lot of fights. And then some not so much. You know, Quillen Salkild building up off his win against Beneil Dariush is very big. Really enjoyed this card. Next up, the first card that I'm going to give a genuine 10 out of 10 is Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland. Not only because of the upset in the main event, right? You had the co-main event, Josh Wavan versus Tatsuro Taira. Top 5 fights of the year. Absolutely phenomenal fight. I mean, amazing fight. So that's going to be the first 10 out of 10. And even go down the card. King Green, masterclass. Yaroslav Amosov getting a really legit win against Joel Alvarez. I want to see him versus Sean Brady next. That would be a dream fight for me. Grant Dawson not getting knocked out. Jim Miller getting a classic submission. And I just mentioned him in my last video as well. Jose Ochoa opening the card with a fucking masterclass against Clayton Carper, just boxing the bleeding head off him. I love Jose Ochoa, and he opened that card great. Really fun card. So that's going to be my first 10 out of 10 there. After that, we had Arnold Allen versus Melchizedek Alcosta. It wasn't a bad card, but it was kind of like, you know. So I'm going to put in that like solid 5.5 out of 10. There were definitely some entertaining fights on that card, like Chaos Williams versus Rare Tenakov. The main event was great. You love seeing a masterclass by Arnold Allen. The co-main event, Daniel Santos versus Doo Ho Choi. It kind of broke my heart because I really like Wily Cat. But it's also good seeing Doo Ho Choi getting a really good win. Juan Diaz building himself up. Kind of another fraud check for Malcolm Willmaker. The kid kind of sucks. Anything else on there that's big? Not really. Tommy Gant got a win, I guess. I don't know. I guess 2 weeks ago, right? Was this 2 weeks ago? Or last week? 2 weeks ago, Song Yadong versus Davidson Figueiredo. Another wicked early card. But this was a really fun card. I honestly really enjoyed this one. I'm putting this at like a solid 6 out of 10. Song Yadong beating Figgy. I don't mind either of them. It was an impressive win. Alonzo Menafield fluking Zhang Minyang and taking a lot of money from me. I don't like that. Fuck. Sergey Pavlovich destroying Teixeira. Kai Sakura finally getting a win in the UFC. You know, lost to Pantoja, lost to Tim Elliott. You know, Tim Elliott, people forget, man. Jake Matthews somehow not finishing Carlson Harris. Bunch of other good fights in this card. Cody Haddon, masterclass. Really fun card overall. And then last week's card, Gabriel Bonfim versus Bilal Muhammad. Oh, it feels good, I will tell you. It does feel good seeing Bilal Muhammad lose. It was a fun card overall. It really was. I love seeing him lose. So, and it did hurt not seeing Brendan Allen lose. And it's so funny. I'm going to show you guys this. Can you see this? See Brendan Allen? I know everyone knows about it. Brendan Allen with the fucking Brazilian I hate Brendan Allen. Brazilian flag next to his name after putting a Canadian flag, after having an American. What are you, kid? You tranny? Transnational, whatever you want to call it. Bryce Mitchell, though. Bryce Mitchell. Oh, shit. Oopsies. Bryce Mitchell, you love seeing a masterclass from him. Truly, you love seeing a masterclass from him. And this card overall, Igor Baranowski, leg kick KOs. Tom Nolan upset against a Frenchman. And I originally, that led into part of my decision picking against Cyril Gane, against Alex Pereira, was seeing Fares Ziam lose. I'm like, damn, it's really true. French people are incapable of winning in a combat sport. They can't win in hand-to-hand combat. And I was wrong. Though I guess Cyril Gane cheated, so I kind of still hold that opinion. But I'm going to put the last fight, the most recent, just days ago, UFC Freedom 250. It's got to be 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. It genuinely, yes, it was only a 7-fight card, so it's a little different than a regular card. Regular cards, you normally have like a women's MMA fight on there, or you have a low-level ranked fighter where it's just going to be, or low-level non-ranked fight where it's just going to be a slam out or a crappy fight. So it does have the advantage of not having that. But at the same time, it lived up and exceeded my expectations of an already highly expectationist. I don't fucking know, bro. I expected a lot from this card, and it truly exceeded my expectations. I was really stoked. Justin Gaethje, dude. Justin Gaethje, man. Rufus getting the win. That was so sick. Honestly, looking at the cards we've had this year, it's been an up and down year for sure. I think every card in this 7 to 8 out of 10 and up has been an absolutely amazing card. And you can't really give complaints about them. And even a couple cards below, like the Moicano versus Duncan, or Song versus Figueiredo, or Sterling versus All, have been very fun cards, despite like a lot of them being in the Apex and stuff. But I've been really enjoying the UFC again this year. The end of last year, there were a lot of things like I was not really enjoying about, but I think that we're taking a step in the right direction again, putting on fun fights, good matchmaking. But I've been enjoying a lot of these fights. Let me know what you think of this ranking. If anything should be higher or lower. And I appreciate you guys watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Go check out my Twitter, Blind Bear MMA. And have a good one, guys. Peace. God bless.